everybody, and welcome to another hair-raising, fun-filled episode of Radiorama, where I show you how to work on radios, as the name implies. And we work on stuff from the 1930s through about the 1960s, and today we have a 1940 Montgomery Ward's radio. I don't remember the model number because for some reason Montgomery Ward's like to use extremely long model numbers. It still works, and I think it's been refinished because whoever did it did a really nice job, but you can see where some of the veneer here has been kind of sanded through just a little bit. It's a much better job than I would have done. I don't remember if I mentioned this, but it does still work, and so I'm not sure what the electronic situation is. Maybe it's restored already, and in that case this will be a very short episode because all I want to do is add an audio input ability. Or it's been partially recapped. A lot of times back in the day, people would just replace the electrolytic capacitors and it would still work and call it a day. But we also need to do a safety check because it is a hot chassis. Strike that. It is probably a floating ground chassis, meaning that one end of the line goes to a cap, a capacitor. It's probably too big of a value and probably the wrong kind, so we'll evaluate that. So let's take it out of the cabinet and see what we're up against here today. Okay, it has been worked on, but I'm not very pleased with some of the things I'm seeing here. That kind of loose wiggly shit, I can easily go over here and touch that. We got a new dog anyway. Steve's new husky. I was filming and I was like, I'm hearing in the video, you're like, I love you. And it's like I had to explain the video, like what's going on there. All right. Anyway, so what I need to do is check some other things here. Looks like we have too big of a cat. I gotta stop filming. These guys are being too loud. Hold on a minute. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I really don't like this. I'm gonna replace these with some newer ones and cinch it up so they're not wiggling around. Replace that guy. This guy's an old cap that wasn't replaced. And then we have this cap that goes to chassis. And it's 0.22 microfarads. It's literally 20 times higher than it should be. So we're going to replace those with these 0.01 safety caps. Jesus Christ, you're getting so excited about talking about fucking frozen hamburgers over there. I gotta stop filming for a minute. Okay, so I've replaced two of these electrolytics. These are much more stable and not flopping around. Next, what I need to do is replace this cap that goes to chassis. It is way too big, as mentioned. We're going to replace it with a safety cap, which is one of these X2Y2 across the line rated cap that will split open versus fuse together in case it's struck by lightning. We're also going to replace this guy with an across the line cap, and then we're going to do a safety test, and I suspect it might fail because we have a few of the grids of the IF related tubes are also going to ground. That might make it fail a little bit, so we might have to clip some of those, put some caps between that and chassis ground, just to make sure that we're underneath our safety leakage threshold. Alright, well that is not an across the line cap. That's just going to the center tap of the volume control, so I did not need to replace that with that value. It's a 0.005 rated cap. So now that we've got this safety cap replaced, the electrolytics replaced, and that cap replaced, we can take it over and do a safety check. I bet every dollar in my pocket that it's not going to pass safety, but we'll find out. Okay, so what we're going to do is hook this up to our rig here. Our maximum reading on this is going to be 0.6 of a volt on the 2 volts AC scale with 250 millivolts AC coming in, and we have a line reverse control. We're going to touch the chassis with this tip. That's going to determine the amount of leakage that we possibly have. So what I'm going to do is plug this in. You want to have the radio on, and we'll test both sides. That's clearly the neutral side because I'm measuring nothing on that side. So let's flip it over. 0.389. It's probably going to climb as the heaters in the set gradually bring themselves up. Unfortunately, I have the music in this. What in the heck just happened? I think I just lost power. Let me replug it in. Alright, the plug came out, so 0.41792, and it's climbing. I guarantee it's going to fail. I have to keep on talking because unfortunately I've got the radio turned up in here. Yep, there she goes. Well, actually, it is almost on the money. Yeah, it's actually going down. That is on the very, very razor's edge, but it does pass, which is really surprising to me, so that's good. Oh, Houston, we have a problem. The set passes safety, but now it has no reception whatsoever. And I thought maybe at first it was because I'd installed this small value cap. But even if I do this, that does not return radio operatage. So either we've got a bad tube or I've bent something that is touching something in the chassis. So let me do some investigating. Well, this was the problem here. See, we've got like a little crack in the 6L5, which I hope we have. But you see that white stuff? That's gas. That tube has gone to air. Just need to find one downstairs. Okie dokie. So that tube was out, and now that fixed the radio portion. But now we've got a problem where the set is oscillating because this value is so much smaller than the one that was in there. So as a result, it just sounds like garbage. But we can fix that by just adding an additional safety cap in the circuit. So you watch this.
A couple of my favorites here. Sure. Believer writes in, she's a female age 45 to...
By the way, do not do what I just did. That's very dangerous, which is why I put a warning in front of my videos. Don't do what I do. You could kill yourself.
In our last grill show as well.
All right, this seems to be working quite well now with that extra cap in there. And plus I put the shield back on the tube.
And now Purity's going to do it again. So 2 free bottles here today for the listeners. Tell us about this.
Yes, tell us about your snake oil. Krill oil. It makes a man again. The power of shrimp oil. Well, I was cleaning up the chassis and I shattered the insulation off that wire to the speaker. So we're going to replace that. It's not a bad idea. Excuse me. Okay, I decided to retest the set after putting that extra cap and the good tube in it, and it's not bad. A little over 1/10 of a volt over. And I think I know how to fix it. Basically, I need to cut one of the grid wires to one of the IF tubes. So we're gonna do that right here on the bench and see if that improves anything.
Even better, as Dr. Levin told you.
We're still talking about fucking shrimp oil stuff, but anyway, I cut that one wire and that did not make much of a difference. So I'm gonna cut one more. Let's see. Do not do what I'm doing, by the way. Very dangerous. All right, we still got radio reception?
Not available in...
Yes, let's see if we pass now. That didn't make a difference either. There's only one more area to cut, which is, I can't do this with this plugged in because I got to go through here. All right, we did reduce it down just a little bit. We got one more to cut, and this is probably going to kill everything. It's this guy right here.
Keep the focus on fun, not winning, and encourage your child to do a variety of activities. If your child is...
All right, let's see what happens now. 0.6, there we go, passes.
For more, talk with your pediatrician or visit healthychildren.org. Someday, high temperatures tomorrow, warmer than what we have today. Highs tomorrow reaching up into the mid-60s. Traffic and weather together on the 8th on All News, 106.9. And cover your cough or sneeze. Touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov.
Let's check it again. 0.67. That's as close as I'm going to get. All right, good. So I had to cut all the grids, the grid grounds. It's going to cause a little bit of radio interference, but not too bad. Most people don't listen to AM radio for the reasons that they advertise things like krill oil all day long. Okay, now we're going to peek the IF cans. So you're going to make sure we're dialed in on the IF. So we're going to adjust these two little IF cans. They have screws. There's 4 of them. And just going to tweak them back and forth. You want to get to the loudest setting.
Jason, what I want to talk about today
is
a discovery that most people will go, oh yeah, that, and that is ginseng.
Oh God, now we're talking about ginseng.
It was actually the first botanical that really got me interested in the whole field of herbs. Back when I was a teenager, ginseng's been around for a long time. There are various ginseng products out there, but if you will, there's ginseng and there's...
How can people talk about crap like that all day long?
Buffalo supermarket race massacre will appear.
Meantime, Federal Reserve Governor Christopher Waller wasn't...
Sí, pero le reducen los impuestos en ese cheque. No, me lo dan entero. Entonces es lo mismo que recibir en efectivo. Lo mismo como recibir en efectivo. Ahora, esa es la segunda manera en el cual usted tiene que declarar la forma larga, que es la forma C de caballo. Esa está declarando usted su propio negocio. Aunque gane $4,000, aunque gane $10,000, aunque gane 50, 100, 300, $1 million.
All right, we're in pretty good shape now. What I also want to do is tighten up this dial cord. It's real loose and it's slipping. I think someone replaced that dial cord because it's just regular old string. All right, so now I'm going to oil the bearings on the tuner condenser up here in the front and then in the back. And what I did is I stretched the spring up here, so now that should do a lot better. And I'm also going to oil this. This will help it slide a little bit better. Okay, so now that we have the electronics done and we have the safety pass, it's time to run the audio input through the set. And how we do that is we're going to run it through the top of the volume pot. But we need to make sure and disconnect the IF signal so that the radio signal won't pollute the audio. We're going to run a switch wire through the back so that way someone can turn the radio signal, the IF signal, on and off so that you can restore radio if you want to listen to krill oil commercials all day long. So we're going to run that through an isolation transformer, and the ones we use look something like this. They're nothing special. It's the equivalent of a wall wart. There's 120 volts in the primary, 6 volts out the secondary. I like to use that ratio because it boosts the signal just a little bit and gives me a little bit more fidelity. So all we'll need to do is confirm that this is the only thing that's running the IF through the volume pot, which I think it is. And you make sure that we kill that IF signal, and then we can proceed. Okay, so we cut that line, and now all we got is a little hum. That's what we want. So we're going to run our positive coming off of our audio to that through the isolation transformer, and then the negative will go to the bottom of the pot here, which is negative and ground, whatever. All right, let me run the audio transformer through it. All right, next thing we're going to do is drill a hole through the chassis and put this grommet in so that the audio cable, where'd it go? This guy can run through. 3.5 millimeter cable, and we're going to tie the right and left channels together with some 33 ohm resistors. Man, I got to change the radio station here. It's like exactly the same era. Okay, so what we've got is our right and left channels running together through a pair of resistors into the secondary side of the transformer. Then the other side we're going to add a shunt, and what that's going to do is prevent the transformer from overriding the set's automatic gain control feature. We found that these sometimes cause issue on sensitive sets, so I just install them automatically. And so now I'm going to glue this right here, and then we're going to run a switch wire via this skinny wire off of here and between here and there. So I've got the audio input feature installed. I've got my Bluetooth running through it, and alright, that works pretty good. Now I need to make sure and run the switch to the radio signal through the back, and then we'll be good to go electronically. Okay, so audio works good. Now I have my switch wire running back, and I tried it again to make sure that this doesn't act like an antenna, because sometimes they do and it's not. So now it's time to, I think, work on the cabinet just a little bit, just freshen it up. And then we will put this back in. I think what I'm going to do too is get a little bit of shellac or something. That's some glue that has a little bit of asbestos residue in it. It seems like it's not really friable, but I'm going to cover it up anyway. All right, next we're going to touch up the cabinet. I'm going to use this product, Howard's Feed and Wax, beeswax stuff. I'll just freshen up this cabinet just a little bit. Meanwhile, I did put a little paint over the top of that asbestos residue. I couldn't find any shellac, but I found water-based paint. That's good enough.
Roly-poly, eating corn and taters, hungry every minute of the day.
All right, so we got good audio coming through. Have my little switch in the back here so I can turn the radio back on. Then we'll take that off of there.
Honolulu 2 days ago means constant, devoted to.
Very, very sensitive little radio. Anyway, I think I need to figure out what's going on with this pointer here. It's kind of dragging a little bit, so I'll fix that. But in the meantime, this episode's pretty much concluded, so thanks very much for watching. I know it's been kind of messy and noisy in here, but I got it done and didn't get distracted this time. Thanks so much for watching, and until the next radio comes across the workbench, I'll see you next time. Adios!